It's great.
I just started the live stream, so all audio is being picked up, just so you're aware.
Okay.
I'm not telling you not to do anything. I like to let people know.
Okay.
This is my brother. Hi, Mark. I'm the rabbi.
I didn't know it was you in that big piece.
Ah,
I saw you, but I didn't recognize you.
I know you want one.
Fun. I don't know where I would park it though. But
Just so you're aware, we've activated the camera and everything is being said.
I don't know where I would put it though.
We better not talk about the, I don't know,
Whatever.
the plot.
Thank goodness. I preferred seeing you at Sunset. Yeah, it was much better. Good luck in your flight.
I'm not used to this long as I'm I've been back since early. We had really early. We excited and not excited. Oh yeah, go back. Yeah, sure. Okay. Delta Simplify. Okay. I don't know if they don't
People ask me what frat you're in, I forgot. These
Kind of like Indiana in terms of like just like
yeah, it's not as big as that. Because I go up my girlfriend's there, so I'm up there a lot. And they're not nearly as big as that.
have I seen frat house?
I didn't recognize you know
No, I'm thinking about it. I might be going to this guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Indiana's probably my one. And then Purdue and Ivy.
I always
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going far.
I can hear it.
I'm not going far.
Was there something else about it, like university?
No. But even if I wanted to go,
You know what I said to her? He's like half of what he was. Like he's so thin right now. You know how I always say like, oh, you built like my brother? No. No, I said now he looks like you.
alright, that's a stretch. I'll still, I'll get there. Bye. I'm working on it.
I'm going back down. I was at 206. Well, first semester started with that. Okay. First semester went up, second semester started with that. Okay. I know. I've been there long enough. I eat enough at night. So. Yeah, I did.
Oh, they're in camp. Yeah, they're at camp today, so that was ideal. Yeah. So we'll come after and then we'll pick them up.
Uncle who?
Hi guys. You guys picture of me holding you when you were a baby. I'm in an Indiana University shirt. And that's what I remember. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask everyone to please either be seated or stand? Also, could everybody please put your cell phones to silent mode at this time? There's some additional seating here if anyone else needs a seat. If you're sitting on one of our benches, just be careful when you sit down, not to lean back. The service is going to be conducted by Rabbi Wendy Geffen.
So guys, before we start the actual service, 4 of you are wearing ribbons. Like we talked about yesterday, the ribbon is a clear ribbon. It represents your heart. It identifies you as a primary mourner. Here today, your heart is the most broken, although you are surrounded by people with broken hearts as well. And perhaps that shared reality might bring you some comfort. But we'll begin with tearing these ribbons. So I'm going to say a prayer. You're going to say Amen. And then you're going to tear the ribbon, and you can wear this ribbon as long as you want. Okay, tear our own. Yeah, and I'm gonna walk you through it. It's, okay.
Just grab the bottom 2 corners and pull up
yeah,
on one.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Baruch atah Adonai Dayan ha'emet, for hearts that are torn, we perform this act of kriya, of tearing. So just say Amen. Amen. Okay, now place your hands on the bottom, and you're gonna kind of pull in opposite directions, and it should like up and down. So you got it. No, that's fine. It doesn't. There's no. You tore. You're fine. Let me help you. I get it. You don't want to tear it.
I feel like it needs. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I do this all the time.
I only got a little.
Yeah, literally. It's a sad title.
Oh, that's
You got it.
okay. He's better.
Yeah, you're good. So are you guys ready to start?
There's 14 devices also on with us right now watching the service. Could be another 20 people or so.
So before we start, for those who are here with us in person and those joining us online, I hope you're able to look to the front here, to either side of our tent, to see these beautiful photographs. And I just want to have you look at them for a moment to kind of allow Ellen into your mind's eye, into your heart, to see her and remember her for how she would want to be remembered and for how we're really going to celebrate her today. To remember her not for this most recent period of time, but really for the person that she was. And let that just be with you over the course of our time together. This is a poem called Each of Us Has a Name. Each of us has a name given by God and given by our parents. Each of us has a name given by our stature and our smile and given by what we wear. Each of us has a name given by the mountains and given by our walls. Each of us has a name given by the stars and given by our friends. Each of us has a name given by our longing and given by our love. Each of us has a name given by our celebrations and given by our song. Each of us has a name given by the sea and given by our death. Bless you. As we are here to remember and to grieve Ellen's passing, we turn toward one another in remembering that Ellen's love united so many in life, and that love is something which death could never sever. We remember her companionship that was shared along life's path, with so many, and which continues now through the tenderness of memory. We remember the many gifts of her heart and mind that brought such joy and happiness and are now precious remembrances. For all these and more, we are forever grateful. And so we turn to voices of tradition and some newer voices too, to guide us as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death together. Adonai ro'i lo echsar, v'ino deshe yarbitzeni amei menuchot yina haleni nafshi yeshovev, amcheni b'ma'ag le'tzedek l'ma'an shemo. These Hebrew words are the first words of the 23rd Psalm. You have the English in the pamphlet you received when you joined us this morning. These words you are likely familiar with, as they have been a source to comfort to so many throughout the ages. I'll invite us to join in reading them in English aloud together as a sign of our presence, in particular here for Ellen's family. Let's join together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. To love, to hope, to dream, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, but a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was a gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. It is a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death can touch. In Jewish tradition, the rabbis teach about 3 crowns: the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But then they introduce a 4th crown, something they call the crown of a Shem Tov. This means the crown of a good name. And they teach that this crown, the 4th one, the crown of a good name, it excels all of the other ones. We know that wealth, health, even life passes away. But so too we know that the crown of a good name, well, this endures forever. Ellen possessed a Shem Tov, a good name. And we're here today to pay tribute to her and the life she lived, to remember her not just for this most difficult series of years that she endured, but more to commit both to our minds and to our hearts the truth of the incredible person Ellen was, the fullness of the life she lived, a life in which she made a difference for countless many, a life in which she loved and was loved profoundly in return, a life whose legacy already lives in the lives of all of those lucky enough to have shared life with her. And so we turn to those who mattered most to her, members of her cherished family, as they'll share some reflections and remembrances with us all. Marilyn.
Anonymous quote number 1. A sister is a little bit of childhood that can never be lost. There is no relationship like siblings. You're like different flowers from the same garden. For me, I always wanted to be like my big sister. I adored her, following her around relentlessly. She affectionately referred to me as her tail. We shared our parents' good times, bad times, a bedroom, a closet, and a dresser. Our parents loved their children, but Ellen was the oldest and came to this country with them. She picked up English and the ways of America quickly. She often helped to guide our parents. The only commodities in our home that were in abundance were food and love. My sister asked my parents if she could have a little sister. My precious Ellen, I hope I was the one that you wanted. I somehow knew that Friday was your time. I am at peace that I was with you at the end and that you were not alone. You are now released from the body that betrayed your intelligence, kindness, vivaciousness, and beauty. Anonymous quote number 2. In the life of cookies, sisters are the chocolate chips. Ella, my sister's wonderful, wonderful caregiver. We were like 3 sisters. Often when I would visit, we'd laugh, we'd sing, we were just happy. And I will thank you forever. Thanks. Bye.
Amy.
Ellen Silbert, Ella, Elke in Yiddish, was gifted one more nickname when her first grandson, in an effort to say grandma, called her Da. Ironically, my mom was the grandparent who spent the most time trying out the endless options of grandparent names during the 9 months leading up to Grant's birth. She had finally settled on Grammy after some serious consideration of the title Queen Ellen. My mom became Da. Whether you get to choose them or not, names tell a lot about someone's life story. My dad likes to joke that my mom has no middle name because her parents couldn't afford one. Many people loosely use the expression, our family came from nothing, but in my mom's case, it was accurate. On February 6, 1947, after World War II, my mom was born in a displaced persons camp in Feldafing, Germany. My Bubby and Zadie, Harry and Sarah Silverstein, survived the Holocaust, but lost their homes in Lithuania and Poland. My Bubby lost a brother, and my Zadie lost his entire family. Somehow, they managed to find love in a DP camp and began to rebuild a life together, literally from nothing. The Silverstein family came to America on the General Han in 1949 when my mom was 2.5 years old. My mom used to joke that this was her first cruise. They entered the U.S. as the Silversteins, then changed to Silversteins, but this part of their story was a lie.
To escape the Russian army, my Zadie stole the identity of a dead soldier. On his papers, his name was Silberstein. But these three people hoping to start their lives over in the U.S. were Harry, Sarah, and Ellen Stranowski. I wish you could hear my mom tell this story about their journey to America, because storytelling was one of her special gifts. My mom and my brother can captivate any audience, and the stories they tell get better each time, even if the facts change a bit from time to time. I got my storytelling skills from my dad. In an effort to report accurate facts and details, we will risk losing our audience members along the way. My mom loved being a history teacher because history is storytelling, and that's how she taught it to her students. It wasn't just about facts and dates and war, the reason why many students dislike social studies classes. She took her students on a journey through time. More importantly, she helped her students write their own stories and carve a successful path for their own journeys. As immigrants trying to assimilate, my mom and her ESL students shared a special bond. Some of them faced similar challenges of learning a new language while also helping their parents transition to a new culture. Mrs. Silbert was not just a history teacher, she was a second mom to her students and a fearless advocate for their families. You might think that someone who is a great storyteller can't possibly be a great listener, but my mom was skilled at both. Each day after middle school and high school, we would spend time together in the kitchen, my mom cooking and me talking about my day, the whole day, every detail of each class period. My stories dragged on, but my mom listened intently, story after story, day after day. My mom enjoyed learning about anyone's story, even a perfect stranger. She could strike up a conversation with someone in an elevator, and by the time they'd reach the 5th floor, she'd know their whole life story. Her ears really perked up when she learned that the person had a daughter or niece who was also Jewish, kind, smart, and close enough in age to my brother. Yes, my mom also used her communication skills to play Jewish matchmaker for my brother. When it came to her own matchmaking, my mom was drawn to a bit of a bad boy image. One of my favorite stories about my parents is how my mom initially took no interest in dating my dad. She thought he would be too dull for her. That was until he got arrested. My mom saw his name listed in the police blotter, and all of a sudden, she was intrigued. For anyone who knows Ron Silbert, likely the most law-abiding citizen you will ever meet, you probably want an explanation. Well, my dad's arrest was a classic case of the wrong place at the wrong time. He arrived at an acquaintance's house moments before police came to break up a party, and they arrested everyone there, including my dad. He might fill in some more details for you. But his story of the wrong place at the wrong time turned into a 55-year love story with the right person at the right time. So my dad got arrested in 1965, and my parents got married on June 29th, 1969, and the rest is history. Ellen Stranowski, Silberstein, Silbert, was an incredible daughter, sister, wife, mom, aunt, teacher, listener, storyteller, and doc. We will keep Da's spirit alive by sharing her story for years to come.
Ron.
I'm a criminal,
I'm a criminal.
First I want to say, Ellen was a fantastic person. She was outgoing, warm, genuine, down to earth. So I couldn't have found a lovelier person to spend my life with. As to our getting together, it was pretty ironic because we went out one time in high school then my father grounded me because they came home too late, and I was embarrassed to call her right away. And I asked her to a dance at Mather High School on a Friday night. She told me that she had to study. But then a friend of mine, I went to first Navy Pier and then UIC, and there was a long period between semesters because they were still building UIC. And a friend of mine was given an opportunity to go to some apartment on State Street and play drums. So I reluctantly went with him. We walked up the stairs. Within minutes, the police were walking in. They arrested all of us. And I guess somebody there had pet pills. So I had a drug arrest. And it was reported, I think, in the local newspaper. And Ellen saw that and she couldn't believe it. And so she called me. And that's, all of a sudden, I was more interested. So it started our relationship, and it symbolizes what my philosophy, that something good always comes from something bad. You just have to wait for it. I wanted to thank so many people that helped me out and helped Mom out during her illness. Particularly Marilyn.
AKA Tail.
Yes. And Amy. And Ella, who has worked with Ellen for 5 years. You couldn't find a nicer, more caring person. She was wonderful. I have to thank Fran and Sherry and Linda for visiting Mom. And, she really enjoyed your visits. And so I also thank all of you for your friendship and for coming today.
Okay, got it.
I don't need it.
Thanks. My mom was always my role model and my hero. She was a beautiful person inside and out. It's rare for someone to give such love and encouragement to all people she encountered. Mom would always be good for fun and laughs, and able to really hear people and give comfort in challenging times. She really gave her all to her ESL students, acclimate them and made them feel welcome. And it would be years after she retired, we would bump into people who would still come up to her and thank her. Mom was also my constant matchmaker and single-handedly kept my dating schedule full. She would encourage me with her favorite, what could it hurt to go on a date? I've always been a mama's boy. She made that easily. We talked daily, which included unlimited I love yous, encouragement, and like Rob Schneider's character would say, you can do it! And so importantly, laughs, and when times were hard, always picked me up. She provided an amazing upbringing and gave us opportunities in all areas, whether sitting at way too many baseball games or sweating in the stands at my swim meets. Her partnership with my dad was so special. They demonstrated what a true loving relationship could be like. Dad was pretty lucky coming home to a clean house because crumbs and lint were not allowed. And a home-cooked meal daily. They broke the mold when they made my mom. Ellen Silbert will always be my heart and soul. I love her immensely, and I'm so thankful to be able to call her my mom. I would jokingly call her and say, what's up, dude? And she'd always reply, Mark, I'm not a dude, I'm a dudette. That's who she was. Love you, Mom.
Thank you for those beautiful remembrances. The family shared yesterday that even in the more difficult years, that Ellen could still say, I love you, and she could still sing. And sing along with many of her favorite songs from eras past. But those songs were joyous and brought back memories even amidst real struggle. And that seems a fitting closing to these remembrances, that her song endured and will endure, and her love endured and will endure. And there's not much more we can ask for than that. I'll invite you to please rise. El Malay Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamatzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim Kezoar Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Elki, Shalach Leolamah. Ba'al Harachamim, Yaster Reha B'Seter Knafecha Leolamim, Yitzor B'Yitzor HaChaim Et Nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach v'shalom amishkava v'nomar, Amen. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace the way of all things. May Ellen's memory be for us a blessing, and may we never let the light of her love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, that her memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. May Ellen's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share can never be severed in sorrow. May she always rest in peace. We say together, Amen. You can be seated. Friends, at this time, the cemetery staff is going to come forward to lower the casket and the vault into the grave. We'll join together in kaddish upon their completion of those tasks.
Tradition of when you are a Jewish person and you die in Israel, that earth from Israel touches your casket. Do you want to put this earth on the casket? Okay, it definitely can't hurt. So what we'll do is once they finish lowering the casket, but before they put the vault on, I'll invite the four of you to come together forward if you whoever wants to. That we can each spin a little over. Is that okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, there is water here. Feel free to help yourself. There's also a register book here for people to sign.
There is a register. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine.
Grab it. Let me bring it back.
So friends, in just a moment, we'll join together in the words of Mourner's Kaddish. They're on the back page of that same pamphlet. A few words about Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. It is a prayer, obviously, in the context of grieving. But it isn't a prayer about death, really. It's a prayer that only speaks of life and gratitude to God for life. And so it gives us a little bit of insight into the Jewish view of death and mourning, that even as we grieve, we're called upon to be grateful. And today we're called upon to be grateful for Ellen, which is not a hard demand. So just as we began, bring Ellen into view. And think of one thing that you'd like to focus on, for which to be grateful this day. What you'll remember most about her. What you feel was quintessentially Ellen. See if you can hear her voice in your ear. Feel her arms around you in an embrace. And be grateful for that. We'll rise together once more. If you're familiar with the Mourner's Kaddish and its words, please join with me. If you're not, our tradition teaches that as long as you say Amen at the end, you are credited with having said the whole thing, which is wonderfully inclusive. It reminds us that there is no particular reserve on gratitude. We all get a part of that. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma tivarach yirutei v'yamliv ma'achutei v'chayethon yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'galal b'zman kariv v'imru Amen. V'hei shemei Rabbah barach le'olam almei amayai. Yibarach, Yishtabach, Yipa'ar, Yishonam, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yithalal, Shmei, Kusha, Urifu. Le'ela Amin, Kol Birchata B'Shirata. Tushbachata B'Nechamata. Ta'amiran Be'alma, Imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya B'Chaim. Aleinu Be'al Kol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Usei Shalom Imamav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Zichronah livracha. May Ellen's memory always and only abide for blessing. We say together. Amen. Friends, at this time, for those who'd like, you are invited to step forward to participate in the burial. This tradition understood as an ultimate act of selfless care and love. This day for Ellen, seeing her body to its final resting place, it is an act of love for which you won't receive a thank you. Thus, it's selflessness. The tradition is to complete it entirely on your own accord if you are able. So should you choose to participate after you come forward to place scoops of earth into the grave, please return the shovel into the pile of earth from which it came, so each person can do this on their own. If you're physically not able to, we can help you. We'll invite the family to step forward first. That was very generous.
I never heard about it. Maybe I haven't done enough of this. That's why we're here.
They keep you balanced.
You know, I see a lot of families. Yours takes the cake in bonding and I feel like your wedding. I mean, I vividly remember it. Like, you know, so.
That was some timing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this does conclude the service. You're welcome to go back to your cars. If anyone needs an umbrella, there's some down here. And also there's Shiva information in the program.
Thanks for sharing everything.
Look at the glass that Karen's stick is more like. I'm sorry that nothing happened here with enjoy the family. Enjoy your great day. That's it. Careful right there. Oh, thank you. My condolences. I'm a rabbi at Mercy Congregation. Yeah, yeah.